This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Hey, and good Saturday morning to everyone out there in the Northeast streaming sports realm, in the world of sports, in the world of sports talk. Let's make today a great day, because every day can be a great day if we work hard to make sure that that is true. You have within you the ability to make today the best day possible. Oh, yes, we can look at all the things that are wrong, or we can take the time to find the things that are right. And we can make the time to make things better for other people. And when we build other people up, we also build up ourselves. When you give love and kindness and goodness, that love and kindness and goodness comes back to you, comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. It's great. So let's make today great. And this is a great sports weekend. Today, well, maybe not so much. I don't know. I don't really follow basketball or hockey. Don't follow them at all. But tomorrow is the Super Bowl. Last week, they asked me to make a prediction on the Super Bowl. So I came up with a score. I decided that the Chiefs will win 35-30. My family asked me to make a prediction, and I believe my prediction was a little bit different. I think I said 38-30 or 38-28, something like that. But I see the Chiefs winning. I hope the Chiefs win. You see me in a green jersey. That might make you think I'm rooting for the Eagles. No. I'm a New York guy. I'm a Yankees fan. And while I do appreciate the Phillies, the Eagles, it's just a little bit different. I can't root for the Eagles. If you look, if I take these banners down for a moment, this is not an Eagles jersey. It's a Jets jersey. It's my John Riggins jersey. Now, I never rooted for John Riggins when he was on the Jets, but I got a John Riggins jersey with him on the Jets. But that's good. When I was a John Riggins fan, when I first came to love football, John Riggins was running over the opposition and helping the Washington Redskins win a Super Bowl. This is a Yankees show, but you know what it's really about? It's really about sports. It's really about our love of the game. And while I don't love football like I love baseball, and while I'm not a big football expert and I don't know all the stats and all the players, I do get excited by the Super Bowl. And I do get excited when I remember back to when I first did fall in love with football, at least as a sport, even if I don't follow it super closely today. Back in the early 1980s, when I was a big Jets fan, and then as the playoffs dawned, became a big Washington Redskins fan, as I just was mesmerized by John Riggins, as we said, running over the competition. It was just one of the most amazing things I ever saw. Riggins left, Riggins right, Riggins up the middle. They just couldn't seem to stop him. And every game, I think they played the Lions, and then they played the Vikings, and then they played the Cowboys, though I might have that in the wrong order. And then, of course, they played the Dolphins in the Super Bowl. It seems like every game, John Riggins did something more amazing. It seemed like he had more carries and ran for more yards. And I was just mesmerized. And that's what sports does. Sports is magic. That's why we tune in. That's why we watch. That's why we listen to people talk about it and why we read books about it. And why we get so engrossed and why we get angry and debate and discuss things. Riggins was the best. Listen, if you want to look at the statistics, John Riggins wasn't the greatest running back of all time. But in my world, John Riggins was the greatest running back of all time. You can't tell me any different because you'd be wrong. Sure, he doesn't have the most yards per carry or the most touchdowns or the whatever, the most total yards. Sure, he wasn't the fastest or whatever. Yeah, sure, there's lots of statistics. But as a sports fan, no running back ever made football so fun for me as John Riggins. See, that's what we do as sports fans. We dream. We watch the players we like get the ball or pitch the ball or get up to bat. And then we dream. I wonder if Reggie Jackson can hit just one more home run. That's where I fell in love with baseball. I've told this story many times when Reggie hit those 3 home runs in the 1977 World Series. I became a Yankee fan in 1977 and then watched the rest of that World Series. And once Reggie hit those home runs, even though my favorite player was Greg Nettles, once Reggie hit those 3 home runs, the Yankees had me forever. And they've had me ever since. And you watch these games and you think, can he do it? Can Derek Jeter actually hit a home run for his 3,000th hit? No way. He's not going to do it. Will Ron Guidry strike out one more guy? Will David Cohn get the perfect game? Will Jim Abbott get the no-hitter? Will Tino Martinez hit a home run right here when we need it the most? This is what we do. We dream. Our players come up. They get into the game. Here comes Riggins. Here comes Riggins. And there's that moment. There's that time when we just say, I wonder what's going to happen. And that's what makes sports so great. When we're watching the game and we're hoping that something great happens, that the player or the players we root for come through and do a great job. That's what we do. That's why we watch. And that's, of course, why I'm wearing my Riggins jersey today on Super Bowl Saturday, because I'm excited about the game tomorrow. Even if I don't really care if the Chiefs win, even if I don't really care if the Eagles lose, it should be a great game. And it's fun to take part in the magic of sport, hoping for the great moment. That's why we get excited about spring training starting in a week. Might this finally be the Yankees' year? That's what we all get excited about. And while we dream, the other great thing about sports is we remember. And like I say, I remember John Riggins as a superhero. That's why no one could be better than him in my mind. Intellectually, of course, there are lots of running backs better than John Riggins, but in my mind, he's a superstar. He's a superhero. He was Superman when I was starting to love football. And he becomes the greatest. So sports is really something special. Before the moment, as the moment arrives, we dream and hope and pray sometimes. And then after the moment takes place, if something great happened, we then hold on to those moments forever. Reggie's 3 homers, Riggins on the 4th and 1 against the Dolphins. You have to understand, I was a Jets fan. I disliked the Dolphins greatly. That's the team that beat the Jets in the Mud Bowl. And here they were against the team that I started rooting for and this great running back who captured my imagination. And it was 4th and 1. And then Riggins runs it for however many yards, going to the left and getting that huge touchdown. I can't tire of watching that play. I watched it a number of times yesterday. I'm sure today, as I'm waiting for tomorrow to come, I'll just happen to find myself putting on that Redskins-Dolphins Super Bowl and watching Rigo run on 4th and 1 all the way down to the end zone. One of the great moments of sports, at least for me. And you know what? That's the other beauty. They are great moments because they capture our hearts. I have this wonderful book. It's called The Least Among Them. I get emails all the time, people telling me, I love your book. It won numerous awards. National Review said it was one of the best books of the year in 2021. I just got an email yesterday from someone who said, will you please come talk to our group about your book and your success? And I tell you, it's an honor to be able to be someone who writes things or talks about sports and have people tell me that they want to hear more from me. So we're going to arrange for me to go visit this group of baseball fans to talk about my book. There's a chapter in here, though, that talks about football. The Yankees and football have an interesting history. Of course, everyone knows the great Super Bowl quarterback John Elway was drafted by the Yankees, and the Yankees also played Deion Sanders as an outfielder for a few games. But there were other players that played with the Yankees and in the NFL. One of the founders of the NFL, Papa Bear Hallis, one of the most important people in the history of football, George Papa Bear Hallis. In fact, the Football Hall of Fame sits on George Hallis Drive. The street's named after him. Well, before he became a big-time football guy, he played outfield for the Yankees in 1919. He didn't play very many games, and people like to say that, well, he would have been the Yankee outfielder, but he was replaced by a certain Babe Ruth. But while that might technically be true, he played some games in right field in 1919, the year before Ruth came to the Yankees. He wasn't a starter or anything like that, but he still was a Yankee. Maybe the greatest, most influential person in the history of football, the guy who made football in many regards a professional sport. Before that all happened, he was a Yankee. There's also Joe Vance, who people probably haven't heard of, but Joe Vance played for the Yankees and the Brooklyn Dodgers. But it wasn't the Brooklyn Dodger baseball team, it was the Brooklyn Dodger football team. The Yankees also had a third baseman named Drew Henson, who was also a quarterback for the Cowboys. And in college, he played quarterback at Michigan, where he was a quarterback teammate of, I don't know, maybe the greatest quarterback in NFL history, Tom Brady, maybe the greatest player in NFL history. And then there was Hinkie Haynes, one of my favorites of all time. Haynes played for the Yankees in 1923 and appeared in the World Series. And then in 1927, he appeared in the NFL championship game for the New York Giants. He was one of the first great two-sport stars. And he was a Yankee, and he was a Giant, and you can learn all about that and many other great things by getting my book, The Least Among Them. If you love novels, Scattering the Ashes is an amazing book. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. If you haven't read it yet, go out and get it. So let's talk some Yankee baseball here as we get to the dawn of spring training, just a week away. Hey, if you want to follow the Yankees, read Start Spreading the News, of course. There's so much there. 3 articles every day, one at 6 a.m., one at noon, one at 6 p.m., breaking news as it happens, and some of the best sports writing from our wonderful staff and the most original thinking. We've got great articles. Last week, I talked a little about Greg Nettles deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. I made that into an article. Oh, my goodness. drew a lot of interest. It was great. Coming up this week or next week, I'm actually going to argue that Babe Ruth was underrated. Trust me, I'm right. We have a series coming up on the James P. Dawson Award, which the Yankees give to their best rookie in spring training. We're counting down the top 250 moments in Yankees history. Listen, if you're not reading Start Spreading the News at least 3 times a day, you're missing some of the best Yankees news out there. So, last week, we talked a little about this idea I was going to have about pluses, minuses, question marks, equals, and keys. I'm looking at the Yankees as we get ready for the dawn of 2023 and thinking, who is going to be the player who really does great? Which players are going to lead the Yankees in 2023? And where do I see the Yankees weak? And who's the big question mark? And who do I see as basically being what they were last year? And what are the keys to the team? So let's talk first about the keys, because I think the keys are really the thing that are going to determine whether the Yankees are successful in 2023 or not. And the keys are the rookies. Yes, I know the Yankees signed Carlos Rodon. Yes, I know Garrett Cole struck out more Yankees last year than any other pitcher in their illustrious history. I know. Yes, I know Aaron Judge is the MVP. He had 62 home runs. I love when people say he can do better. No, he's not doing better. He can have a great season, but he's not doing better. I can't imagine. I don't think anybody can. Well, I guess some people can wish and hope, but no. You don't hit 62 home runs and then come back and hit 65 or even 60 again or even 50 again. If Aaron Judge hits 40 home runs, it'll be a great year. Let's be honest. But anyway, I know those guys are there, but the key to the season is going to be, and we're going to find out early on, one of our writers, Tim Cable, wrote this. Andy Singer, another of our great writers, all on Start Spreading the News, also wrote a little about this, is that the Yankees have to begin to trust their rookies. And we're going to find out early on in spring training how much they do. There have been a slew of great shortstops that have been available over the last couple of off seasons. All they would have taken is the Yankees offering big money and many years, and the Yankees could have had a superstar shortstop. There have been a host of them. Most of the best shortstops in baseball have been available, or at least many of them. But, and especially if you go back a couple years before the Mets got Francisco Lindor, there's Lindor and Carlos Correa and Corey Seager and Xander Bogaerts. I mean, how Manny Machado a number of years ago. I mean, like virtually every great shortstop has been available in one way, shape, or form over the last couple of the years. And the Yankees haven't gotten any of them. Machado's a little different because it was too many years ago. But the Yankees haven't gotten any of those guys because they believe in their young shortstops. Either Oswald Peraza or Anthony Volpe. We had a big Saturday event with the Start Spreading the News staff about a week ago. It was great. And the consensus among all of these brilliant baseball writers was that the Yankees need to trust in their evaluative system and determine who is the shortstop of the future. It seems like everybody believes it's going to be Anthony Volpe. Okay. Well, if it's going to be him, and if you didn't go out and get the great shortstops that were available, what the Yankees need to do is trust him and make him the shortstop. If he's not ready, that's a little bit different. Let him work on one more year at the minor leagues or part of the year till he shows he's ready, and then bring him up. But the Yankees should not be moving him around and saying, Volpe, try left field. Volpe, try center field. Volpe, try third base. Volpe, try second base. That's not going to help his progression. That's not going to help him. That's only going to get in the way. Play him at the position where you think he's going to be great and let him stay there and be great. And if it's not going to be him to start the year, it better be Oswald Peraza, who showed last year he can hit and field at a major league level. It can't be Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He's a nice player. He's not a starting player on a team that should be winning a World Series. And he's not a young guy. I mean, he's in his 20s, but he's not the young future. He is not the guy that the Yankees are going to be building around going forward. That guy is either going to be Peraza or Volpe. So one of those two guys needs to be starting at shortstop for the Yankees on opening day. But as Cable wrote and as Singer wrote and as so many have talked about, we're going to find out what the Yankees really think of them early on in spring training. Are they going to be starting the spring training games, or are they going to be the guys that come in the last couple innings when no one really cares? They need to be the guys starting those games. That's the key. If the Yankees invest in the young players, the players they said were so important that they eschewed all those great other shortstops. If the Yankees are going to play them, they're going to probably have a good or a great or a successful year. But if the Yankees fall back on their old habits of trusting the old veteran, it could be a long year in the Bronx. So I think that's the key. I think the key to the 2023 Yankees are the kids. Play the kids. We've been hearing about them for years. We've been hearing about how great they're going to be. We've seen other teams, the Guardians and the Astros, the teams the Yankees played in the playoffs last year, infuse young kids right into the lineup, and those kids have performed. Now, not every young minor leaguer can do that, or future major leaguer or rookie. But if you believe in Volpe, if you think he's the real deal, then you got to make sure you treat him like the real deal and say, kid, you're our shortstop. You know, there was an outfielder once. He played for the New York Giants. His manager thought he was pretty good. He didn't start off very well, and he was even thinking of quitting the game. But the manager said, listen, Willie Mays, you're my center fielder, whether you get a hit or you don't get a hit. No matter what, I don't care how badly you do. I'm putting you in the lineup every day in center field because I believe in you. You're going to be great. The Giants believed in Willie Mays. Of course they did. Now, I don't know if Anthony Volpe is going to be great. I don't even know if the Yankees believe that Anthony Volpe is going to be great. But if that's what they've been saying, at least, and if they do, then put him at shortstop and let's ride with him. Move Peraza, or if you think Peraza's the guy, then put him at shortstop and let's ride with him and move Volpe. I don't care, but the Yankees need to make a decision. Throw all their eggs in that basket and say, that's the guy. We're not going to move him around. They tried that with Gleyber Torres. You're our shortstop. No, you're our second baseman. No, you're a shortstop. No, you're a second baseman. You're up and down, up and down. We're going to keep you in the minors. We're going to bring you up. Like, no, don't do that. That doesn't help a baseball player. It doesn't help to be moved around all the time. Put him at his spot and let him play. That will be the key to the 2023 Yankees. So where do I see them being really good? The pluses? We mentioned this briefly last week. The rotation should be great. Anthony Rizzo should do very well. I have another feature that we're not going to get to today because this half hour goes too quickly. But we're going to look at the projections for certain Yankees as noted on Baseball Reference. And then I'll tell you whether I think they're going to exceed the projection or come in under it. I'll give you a hint. I think Anthony Rizzo is going to exceed the Baseball Reference projections for 2023. I think Aaron Judge is going to have a great year. He's not going to hit 62 homers. That's right. He's going to hit 70. I bet you he hits 42. Let's make a good number. But that's still a great year. I think Josh Donaldson's going to prove that he can play third base and hit again. I think he's going to do a little better. No one would have thought Matt Carpenter could have hit last year. He went on a magical ride. Josh Donaldson's always been a great hitter. People have bad years. He's old, sure. But I still think he'll come back and have a solid year for the Yankees. He won't be a Yankee in 2024. They might even trade him at the All-Star break if some of the other young kids are doing great. But I think Donaldson's going to be fine. The weaknesses? Oh, boy. I think the bullpen right now, even though the Yankees always seem to figure it out, look at the bullpen. There's one lefty. I just don't understand it. And it's a bunch of other guys who all have potential and have all done well, but many of them, Clark Schmidt, Clay Holmes, Michael King, Tommy Kahnle, who've been injured. This is what they're building their bullpen around. I'm a little frightened about the bullpen. I think Giancarlo Stanton's seen his best days. I know some people, I wrote an article last week, tell me I'm wrong. Stanton's great. He's going to be great. That's what they keep saying. Maybe. I hope so. I just think he guesses a lot. I think he guesses a lot. And I think he's guessing wrong a lot. And I see him missing a lot of fastballs. When he hits the ball, he hits it hard. But I don't see him hitting the ball hard as much. Making contact. I see him striking out a lot. I think Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is a nice player, but he's not a starting player. I think Aaron Hicks was nice a number of years ago. If the Yankees start him in left field, it's also an indictment. Like we're hoping beyond hope that a guy bounces back, a guy who has been terrible for a long time. In 2022, he hit 216. In 2021, he hit 194. In 2020, he hit 225. In 2019, he hit 235. In 2018, he hit 248. In 2017, that was really his good year. 2018, he did it 27 homers. He had 266. I know batting average isn't everything, but I mean, every year his batting average went down from 2017 to 2021. And last year it went up from 194. He raised it to 216. His home runs the last couple of years, 12, 6, 4, 8. I mean, not good. You can't be pinning your World Series hopes on Aaron Hicks. Might be the nicest man in the world. I don't know. I've never met him. But as a baseball player for a team looking to win a World Series, he's not the guy. I think Jose Trevino is a very good defensive catcher. Obviously, the baseball world feels that. The statistics show it. He's not much of a hitter. And I think his hitting was great for the first half last year, and then it settled to where it probably will be. The Yankees seem unwilling to go over a certain luxury tax threshold, which means I see money as a weakness because they may not be willing to spend. And even though the rotation is going to be great with Rodon and Severino and Nestor Cortez and Garrett Cole, I am worried that Frankie Montas is injured because I thought he was going to be a good pitcher. And I don't know. I'm not high on Domingo Germán, and I'm not high on Clark Schmidt. Yankees might be a little bit short in that fifth spot in the rotation. But again, the fifth spot, maybe not all that important, especially for the first few weeks of the season. The question mark, we'll talk more about this in the coming weeks. Harrison Bader. That's the question mark. Is he a guy who can stay healthy? Is he a superstar in the making? Is he this great fast outfielder who hits the ball hard and catches everything and is a human highlight reel? The Yankees have to figure that out this year because he's a free agent at the end of the year. They got him. A lot of people are very high on him. But the Yankees are going to have to make a long-term decision on him after just one full season. And he is a guy that's never played in 140 games in a year. He's been hurt always or out of the lineup always. All right, real quickly here, my dear friends, make sure you go out and you get the new Roy White book. It comes out on April 11th. You can pre-order it now. Paul Semendinger does a masterful job capturing the essence of the great left fielder. That's what Ian O'Connor said. It's a great book. Go out and get your copy now. From Compton to the Bronx. This has been the Dr. Sem Show. 30 minutes of great Yankee talk. I wish we had 300 minutes. Now that would be fun. Hey, let's go Chiefs tomorrow. And remember to love all of your sports moments. Dream and then remember. make today great, and always look to the good. All right, my friends, I'll be back here in 30 more minutes or 30 minutes from now with the Mac and Jack Debate Show.